Well, g'day there. Welcome back to another one. My name's Mike. We're going to talk about the upcoming round 17. I will give you my tips and picks and whatever. I don't know, just my thoughts on the games. I haven't done a lot of work put into this, but we will throw something together. I'm going to talk a little bit about the State of Origin first, so bear with me. But what a game. I mean, certainly if you were on the New South Wales supporter side of things, it was a hell of a first half in particular. I mean, it was the first half that one of the best first halves of Origin of all time. I think it was the best. 34-0. The game was over pretty early on, but it was a complete demolition of and you don't see that sort of thing in this level. I mean, there's been the odd occasion where it's been pretty one-sided. Game one of the series was a write-off. You can't talk about that. That was over as soon as the red card happened. But this one was it was a very, very motivated New South Wales team, and they were well pumped up for this one. They were certainly trying to send a message, and I think they were trying to also set up themselves for game 3 because they got to now back that up. Queensland will be obviously quite disappointed. They didn't have too many answers in that first half, and they'll be, I guess, scratching their heads. They're going to be quite a different outfit mentally come game 3 back home in Suncorp. But they did win the second half, and I guess that was the comments from both coaches at halftime that they were going to reset, and I guess the Queenslanders would have sort of approached it from that point of view. Well, let's get some confidence out of this half going into Suncorp. I mean, the game was well done, but the New South Wales team still kept coming. It was a much closer contest in the second half, and but yeah, look, I mean, the damage was well done. So, hell of a game, hell of a performance, and Mitchell Moses deserved man of the match. He was absolutely key. His kicking game was spot on. Everything sort of came off, but that momentum and that physical domination was very evident as well. So, sets things up pretty nicely, doesn't it, for game 3? There was, but yeah, certainly last night there was 90,000 people at the MCG, so that was pretty cool. But look, let's get on to NRL round 17 now. I've had a busy week, so I haven't been able to make any other videos. If you have watched a video before, thank you for watching again. Let's start at the top. So we've got one Friday night game, no Thursday night game, which is tonight, but we've got one Friday night game, 3 Saturday games, and then 3 Sunday games. So it's sort of crammed into the weekend there. My tipping last week was pretty average. It was when I was talking about that round, I didn't think there would be any upsets. It just didn't look like that was possible. Certainly there were, 2, I think. The Warriors being the big one. The Titans were absolutely amazing, and I think that's what we are seeing a little bit this year with when a team's on and another team's not, boy, you can get some pretty decent margins. That was exceptional. That was a whole nother story and a whole nother level. And I've been saying for a lot this year that the Titans are a better team than the position of the table they're at. So that all came together for them very nicely on the weekend. The Warriors will have to go back and they've got to find a way to play for each other. It's all about defence. One comment I will make, because I do tend to talk about the Warriors more than the other games, but the Warriors last year, a lot of their confidence came off their defence and how good their defence was. Well, their attack didn't offer much on the weekend, but largely because their defence was absolutely appalling. So I think they've got to find a way to get their defence sorted. I'll talk about their game this week, but certainly the Warriors in particular have a lot of work to do, and that was the biggest talking point to come out of that week. So the first game up on Friday night, we've got the Bulldogs versus Sharks, and this is a hell of a matchup. The Bulldogs haven't lost at home, so that's a big thing for them. They're the only team by all accounts this year that haven't lost at home yet. They are currently 6th on the table versus Sharks, who are 3rd. Now, if the Sharks need to make a statement here to say, look, yeah, we are top 4 material, they've got most of their team back and fit and firing. I think Teague Wilton is on his way back as well. I think Talakai, this is his 100th game, I think, this week. And then for the Bulldogs, Bronson Cherry he's coming back by all accounts, which means that Matt Burden will go into 5/8 where he's much better. They've got Kikau back, and that's a pretty solid full Bulldogs team. The Sharks are favourites by a little bit there, and this one's a hard game to pick, and certainly, man, am I gun shy at the moment. It's pretty hard to tip at the moment, but that's a full Sharks team as well, and they've got to really make a statement here. Cam McInnes didn't play Origin, so he'll be fit and firing, most of that team is sort of where it should be. So look, I'm tipping the Sharks. I think it'll be a close one. Sharks 1-12, and then on Saturday, the first game is the Warriors versus Broncos. Now, I didn't say this at the beginning, but because of Origin last night, most of the talk will be, or deciding factors for games will be whether Origin players back up or not. For the Broncos, who would know? I think that the Broncos contingent from the State of Origin game would have to fly back to Brisbane and then across to New Zealand. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I mean, other than that, is there much to talk about? So Mitch Barnett and Kurt Capewell will both back up for the Warriors. Mitch Barnett didn't get on the field, and Kurt Capewell played little to no minutes. Watini Zelezniak is returning from suspension, so he'll help on one wing. The big talking point for the Warriors is that Sean Johnson's not playing, so Te Maire Martin will go into halfback, and Chanel Harris-Tavita will go in at 5/8, which is a massive thing for him. And really, both of them played pretty well in a couple of games before Sean Johnson came back. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is lucky not to be suspended after his tip tackle on the weekend, although I didn't really feel like it was worth a sin-binning offence. Certainly a very similar tackle happened in the State of Origin last night, and that player wasn't sin-binned. I can't remember who did it now. So it's all about whether Reece Walsh plays in a lot of ways. He's probably the most key. Of course, you got Payne Haas and Patrick Carrigan, but I feel like the forwards covering do a pretty decent job. The biggest issues for the Broncos over the last few weeks has been their attack, and they are missing Reece Walsh in that front. So look, a home game for the Warriors. It's really hard to tip this one. I can't believe, and honestly, they're favourites after what they just did on the weekend. But I'm going to go that way anyway, because it is a must-win game for them, and I think the Broncos are struggling for form a little bit, but probably won't have their Origin stars. So depending on whether the Origin stars play or not, but I'm going to go Warriors 1-12 in that one. Then it's the Knights versus Eels. Knights currently 12th, Eels currently 17th, dead last. Mitchell Moses unlikely to back up. He had a massive game. He has been named. I think he is expected to play. And he will be absolutely key. I think if Gutherson and Moses can fire, then they'll go a long way to winning. Kelma Tuolangi is out for the Eels. He has... is he suspended, I think? And then Matthew Arthur's on the bench. He hasn't played before, so that could be his debut. And then in terms of the Knights, Fletcher Sharp has surpassed David Armstrong at fullback, covering until Ponga returns. I think round 22, so we've still got 5 weeks before that. Will Price will get his first start for the Knights, coming across from England at 5/8. And we have Kai Pearce-Paul on the bench, so we will see that the edge rotation sort of continues to happen, although Kai Pearce-Paul was under an injury cloud. Anyway, I feel like the Knights will win this one. They're at home. They are currently ranked 12th. They have probably had a quiet last month, but I would say that they'll be targeting this one. A lot of it will depend on how their halves perform. Certainly Will Price from that point of view. I will go Knights 1-12 for that one. And then Storm versus Raiders, the last game on Saturday. Storm currently ranked 1st, of course, as we all know, and Raiders ranked 10th. The Storm, I think Pappenhausen is in doubt at the moment with a foot injury, but Fa'alongo is in the reserves, and he is a very capable replacement, one of the best players in the competition at the moment. Jerome Hughes is playing, of course, and they've got some consistency there, although Jack Howarth, what's the talk there? He's moved into centre. I think he played wing last week, Remy Smith might be back from his concussion. But Jack Howarth, it's worth a mention. He looks like a future star. He's got the the size and the skill and the speed, and you can pretty much have him, I would say, wing, centre and or edge. But anyway, so I'd like to see a lot more of him. And then, that Storm side, they're the one to beat, aren't they? They're the team to beat at the moment. So the Raiders have been struggling of late. What have they down to 10th? They were in the top 8. They were 6th a matter of 2 or 3 weeks ago. They've still got a pretty solid side. The only main change there is Albert Hopoate's out and Tom Starling's back, who is going straight back into the starting hooker role with Danny Levo going back to the bench. You have to pick the Storm at home in this one comfortably, so I've got them 13 plus. All right, so the Dragons versus Dolphins being the first game on Sunday. Dragons ranked 9th, Dolphins ranked 5th. Very even odds this one. Dragons having a home game. Again, that will depend a little bit on who backs for both teams backs up from Origin. What we do know about the Dragons is that Zach Lomax is unlikely to back up. He's got a knee niggle, and then you'd imagine that Ben Hunt will be fine. He only played half a game, and he is a seasoned campaigner when it comes to playing Origin and backing up. And then there's a couple of players, Jack Bird and Christian Tuipulotu, sort of floating around. So we'll wait and see, but that's pretty solid looking Dragons team. And then Hemiso Tabuai-Fidow. He won't play, I don't think, because he injured his shoulder in the State of Origin, an AC injury. Trey Fuller comes back, and he's pretty handy, but man, Hemiso Tabuai-Fidow has been one of the best players in the competition, and he is absolutely devastating in space. Felix Kaufusi will back up okay. He only played 10 minutes the other night. So otherwise, their team, the Dolphins, are pretty settled. They are still tracking pretty well, of course, in 5th position, just getting bumped out of top 4 by the Roosters. Ewan Aiken, well, man, that was quite a messy game for the Dolphins on the weekend, wasn't it, last weekend? Ewan Aiken spent quite a bit of time on the wing. Herbie Farnworth had probably his worst performance this year, he has been really strong this year, his best season. So I think just the injury to, who was it, Bostock, threw out the whole setup, and Farnworth, just couldn't, I guess, coming in and out of position, didn't know sort of where to go, and then certainly Aitken's work rate dropped right back off, and he did find himself on the wing, managed to get a meat pie in the corner, but other than that, that's sort of pretty settled side. I don't really know. You could toss a coin on this one. I haven't even put a team down, but I do need to make a commitment. I feel like the I feel like the Dragons will win at home. I feel like that might just be enough to sway that one, but it's always very difficult to call this one. But I will go Dragons 1-12. I'll write that down in a minute. And then Panthers versus Cowboys. Panthers currently ranked 2nd. Cowboys ranked 8th. Cowboys much more impacted by State of Origin than the Panthers. That is fair to say. So the State of Origin reps for Panthers have all been named, and that is Brian To'o, Dylan Edwards. Dylan Edwards had an awesome game. I know Teddy had a good game in game 1, but I feel like, Dylan Edwards is just another level this year. And of course the Roosters last year they were pretty average. Jerome Luai played a full game, but he's likely to back up, certainly been on a Sunday. Liam Martin had a really good strong game in State of Origin. Isaiah Yeo didn't play a heck of a lot of minutes. He played some key minutes, but so I'd expect them all to back up. In terms of the Cowboys, they haven't actually named their State of Origin reps in the side at the moment. They're all in the reserves, so it's sort of a lucky dip in terms of what happens there. So I would expect, though, that so Nanai won't play. Jeremiah Nana won't play. Jordan McLean's returning. Reece Robson is a good chance of backing up, but he did play some big minutes and did a lot of work. Murray Taulagi and Tom Dearden are probably a good chance of backing up as well. Valentine Holmes, I'm not sure what they'll do there. If I was to pick any one of those sort of three or four players, Valentine Holmes might be the one to not play. He was well targeted in State of Origin and missed a few tackles, but certainly he was a bit of a target by the New South Wales team. So in this one, I'm leaning towards the Panthers comfortably, 13 plus. Roosters, Tigers, last game of the round. Roosters ranked 4th, Tigers ranked 16th. Roosters comfortable favourites in this one. Not too impacted by State of Origin by their normal standards. Connor Watson and Spencer Leniu will both back up, I would imagine. Connor Watson didn't play very long, I think 17 minutes, and Leniu played a strong 26 minutes. Man, he is a surprise package for me. Playing Origin, but he's got Origin written all over him. So Lindsay Collins played some decent minutes, but he won't start because Terrell May will start. And boy, Terrell May, man, he has just been awesome this year. I mean, he'll find his way into the New South Wales team, you'd have to imagine, but he played 80 minutes at prop last week. Had an absolute storming game. Angus Crichton will wait and see there because he played a full game, I think. Definitely did a lot of work, and he has just had one hell of a season. I mean, we all know what he can do, but I think he's gone to another level with his physicality. Of course, was it Polga has been suspended, so coming up, finding a centre is the challenge for the Roosters at the moment. So look, Tigers, they may get John Bateman back. He's floating around. Justin Olam's floating around as well. With the big talking point there is Adam Dewey's back. He played an awesome game last weekend. So great to see him back. That's a hell of a story, I must admit. And Samuel Fainu, he has just been awesome this year. So yeah, I think they've got a reserve hooker, Heath Mason, who I don't recognise. So it might be his debut if he gets on the park. But yeah, look, it's a pretty one-sided affair, this one. Roosters, I've got winning comfortably 13 plus. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the upcoming round, and I'll try and make another video next week. Awesome, thanks.